So apparently we're all low nuts. That's encouraging. In front of you, I'd like you to take out a piece of paper. It can be anything. And on that piece of paper, I want you to pretend it's a dollar bill. On it, I'd like you to write, if you could donate this dollar bill to any cause in the world, what would it be? By a show of hands, how many of you said you would donate that dollar to a cause in the developing world? Raise them up. And by a show of hands, how many of you said you would donate that dollar to the so-called privileged youth of today? Interesting. Through this activity, I'm not trying to diminish the importance of the story of the youth in the developing world, rather focus on the fact that the story of the struggle of the youth who seem to have everything today is not told enough. While we may not be poor in terms of education, money, or housing, we are poor in the fact that we seem to lack the social structures to guide and empower the youth of today. We tend to focus on issues that are so far away rather than those that are in our own homes, our communities, and our schools. When I was a kid, I was told things like, don't waste food. There are kids starving in Africa. And for me, I couldn't understand how I could, simply by not wasting food, help kids who are halfway across the globe. And it made me feel helpless and demotivated. So I pushed it away, and I focused on those easier ways of having fun, the superficial ways the media imposes upon us. Shopping, partying, going out. When I was 15, my biggest concern was, what am I going to wear to my next party? My biggest aspiration was going to an Ivy League school so I could get a great job and make lots of money and be rich and happy. Now, this isn't to say I had many inspirations in my life that made me want to change, be a better person, help society. My mom would often send me to workshops, ask me, Seaon, read this book, and I would be inspired. It was like a spark of inspiration. But every time I left those workshops, it was like I was coming back to the real world. And over time, that inspiration would fade away as I got caught up with the normal things, school, friends, going out. And that spark died out. And my mom, the ever-wise woman she is, seeing my inconsistencies, would tell me, Seaon, don't do 용두사미, which is a Korean word. In literal translation, it means dragon head, snake tail. Something that starts off big and powerful, but dies out over time. And me being the impulsive and self-righteous youth I was, said, yeah, Mom, I'm doing fine. What I didn't realize at the time was that because the inspiration wasn't linked to subsequent action, inspiration died out. Now, I'm a Baha'i. And for those of you who don't know, this is said by Abdul Baha, the son of our prophet. To be a Baha'i simply means to love all the world, to love humanity and to serve it, to work for universal peace and universal brotherhood. And from a young age, I was taught the importance of service and the power of service. But I could never understand it because I hadn't put it into action. And I have to say, reflecting, the point of time that really transformed me, that made my inspiration consistent, was when I put my inspiration into action. And I'm not talking service where you just go donate like a couple hours at a community center, but service where I planned and executed my own projects. And I have to say 2 projects really defined my life, or really transformed me. The first one was called E-Cubed, and it stands for Emancipating Everyone's Earth. It was an environmental organization. In 2007, I set this up in my school. And how it started, funny enough, was again with my mom. She walks into my room one day and says, Seaon, there are all these problems happening with the environment. And she showed me facts and figures and statistics. Why don't you do something for it? And being the academically driven student I was, I thought this would be a great chance for me to sure help out, but at the same time, it would look good on my university application. And so I started eCube with my close friend, Anya Tarazi. And when I started, I had 0 expectations. Because the second you start talking about environmental issues to youth, their eyes just glaze over. They've heard it so many times, they don't want to hear it anymore. But my mindset was quickly changed. For example, one of the projects we did, a plastic bottle recycling campaign, we ran one in our school. The class that collects the most bottles gets a pizza party. Simple enough. What we figured in 1 month we'd collect of around 1,000 bottles. We counted up to 10,000. And these youth had brought their bottles in from their parents' companies, from their communities, from their homes. And this really changed my perspective on youth and the power that youth have and the power of service. But this was just the beginning. This was my first taste of service. It taught me trust in God. It taught me to trust in humanity. It taught me to trust in service, but most importantly, to trust in myself. But it wasn't until I started doing junior youth classes in 2008 where my passion got turned up a notch. Junior youth classes are essentially Baha'i-inspired classes in which an animator and older youth, such as myself, works with younger youth, ages 12 to 14. I never imagined I would be able to get along with youth of that age. But it was through these bonds that I developed with these youth that I realized their social and moral structures were so distorted because of the fabric that the media and the commercial society has built around them. These youths from the age of 12 and 11 were talking about sex, drugs, partying, and I was shocked. They had no sense of self-worth, no hope in themselves, nor in humanity, or in the future. And that's when it hit me. These problems are so local. They're right in our homes, right in our communities, right in our schools, and we weren't talking about them. I live in Dubai currently, and Dubai is upheld as a model city for innovation, business, architecture. But as one of my close friends, Sonia, once said, tall buildings do not unite people. Service, passion, and action do. My initial reaction to these youth, the situation, was anger. But after a time, I realized, wait a second, I had felt empowered because of the projects I'd done before. And so I realized I wanted to do something about it. And I want to share with you the 3 core principles I think I learned through service and through working with youth. Was firstly, we youth need to belong. Secondly, we youth, most of us youth, want to do something, but many don't know how. And thirdly, we youth need a platform, an environment, in which we can facilitate learning, discussion, but most importantly, action. And that's why GEM was founded. And GEM stands for Global Youth Empowering Movement. In 2009, my mom and I tossed around the idea of starting a movement that would link and empower youth all over the world to use their passions, whatever they love doing, and connect it to service, so that we can create service we can feel proud about, service we appreciate and enjoy doing. And GEM functions on basically 2 platforms. The first is the GEM website, which we're trying to launch now. And it's going to be a database where every single service project in Dubai, in the Middle East, and the rest of the world is connected, where youth can go to find other youth projects, NGOs can come and find volunteers, companies can come and find initiatives to sponsor, experts and professionals can come and donate their energies and time to projects that they find fit in line with their field of work. Essentially, it was going to be a Facebook for service projects. The second platform is a physical platform, and that is a youth center that we're starting up. In August 2008, we were donated a 36,000 square foot porta cabin that was quite unrefined, I'd have to say. But we youth got together, we got paint sponsored, and we painted the entire center ourselves. All the material was sponsored. Our furniture is made from reused materials. Our painting was done by ourselves, so it's not 100% professional, but it looks pretty good. And actually, the core of why we decided to set up a center was because of GEM workshops. And GEM workshops are like the first step into changing youth's mindset and empowering them. And it's split into 3 parts: know it, dig it, act it. So know, who am I? What is my purpose in society? And what are the issues in my community on a local, national, and global scale? Dig it. Go a little deeper. What are other youth doing? Investigate. How are they using their passions for service? And thirdly, act it. Using the inspirations, using your passion, plan and execute a service project. And this all happens in one workshop, which is for about 15 to 25 youth, ages 15 to 20, and it's over a 2-day intensive course period. What we aim to facilitate through these workshops is a deeper understanding of the self, the society, and the relationship between the self and society, so that we can create sustainable action so that we don't create snake tails, we create dragon tails, where we link or where action and learning go hand in hand. It was through the various projects we've done, or I have to say, through the various projects we've done, whether it be graffitiing a tunnel under the theme of hope, greening a run for cancer, holding workshops or open youth nights to explore how powerful music expression is. We've really learned that youth, if given the correct environment to grow and flourish in, if empowered, they can really create measurable change. Let me give you an example. This is a tunnel in Dubai Festival Center, which is a mall next to my house. And this is a tunnel leading into the mall. 5 youth got together, and in 1 month, we planned an event called Graffiti, a Tunnel for Hope, whereby we would invite the community to come and paint under the theme of hope. What would be probably a $10,000 event, we ran under $1,000. Volunteer power with some schools. Most of the material was sponsored, and most of it was also reused. So we brought in 500 people just through Facebook, Twitter, and campus radio, and we turned this into this over 1 weekend. I think we're really showing that we youth are open-minded. We youth are not what the media says we are. We are not rebellious, materialistic party animals. In fact, we are curious. We youth are impulsive. I mean, we youth are beautiful. And I think today we're here to celebrate that. I, as an individual, am nothing without my community. I want you to hold out your dollar bills. And I want you to give them to yourselves. Because today we are empowering ourselves, empowering our youth to use their passions and talents to create the future that we want to see. Because if we've learned anything from today, we youth can change, we youth will change, and we youth are changing the world. Thank you very much.